What is going on YouTube? This is Saturate. So I'm going to review the fifth and most recent album by Big Tymers, which is basically a super group comprised of Birdman and Mannie. Basically this product is called Big Money Heavyweight, and it came out in the fall of 2003. Came out in the late fall of 2003. So the thing about this particular product here is this was kind of a shifting of eras as far as this pitch is going to happen. Things that kind of shifted from like the sounds back when Big Tymers were more in like their commercial prime in early 2002 with Hood Rich with some of their hit singles like Oh Yeah and Still Fly, some of those type pitches, and even Big, some of those particular type fares. They particularly dominated 2002 within a pretty good pitch. Birdman was pretty huge in 2002. Mannie Fresh was kind of pumping out beats left and right. But as far as this fair is going to happen, way out in 2003, which was really not that much of a distance, but it's just kind of the concept of this feels a little bit more cultivated, a little bit more, not necessarily over the hill, but just the jubilant kind of energy when you think of songs off of Hood Rich, like songs like Give Me Some and I'm Still. You think of songs like Give Me Some and Still Fly and Big and Oh Yeah, some of those type pitches, just that particular springtime and summer frolic within the pitch behind it. It just feels like a lot of these songs more on here are more summer evening type fare, where it's just a little bit more wind down type mode, not necessarily like full bounce settle in, but just kind of within the pitch a little bit more cultivated and just a little bit more within kind of like a lazy kind of days within, since either a lot of smoke, which are just kind of concept of just a little bit chill, as in the concept of winding down for the rest of the day within like a relatively hot afternoon pitches like that. So within the pitch, so this is not amongst like the heat of the day like Hood Rich particularly kind of was, but this is still kind of summer type fashion within the sense it's just more kind of evening dredge within that kind of mixed in. So it's just the concept, but there are some moments on here. This is a pretty popular MTV and VH1 staple. I remember hearing songs from some of these back in the day, like definitely like Gangsta Girl and like A Beautiful Life. Some of those type pitches were just routine type ones within some of those type fashions of early 2000s kind of MTV plays within the pitch. This had, I want to say it had 4 singles. I don't remember what the 4th one was within those pitches, but I mean, I want to say back in the day that Wikipedia listed at least 4 of them, but I know there's at least 3. I'm guessing that maybe it was Beat It. I mean, I can't recall as to which one full blown it was, but I know at least This Is How We Do, Gangsta Girl, and It's a Beautiful Life, which is also known as No Love, were 3 of the singles. But it just seemed like within the pitch there may have been a 4th one. But within the fair, it still did a pretty good job within, since this was not as full blown popular as like Hood Rich from 2002. It's kind of the pitch that it just kind of felt like the singles didn't hit as heavily. Now this is a little bit more commercial. The beats are better, but like I said, it just has like that same sort of potential within its Big Timers within the same flair. Just it was a little bit removed, like the boisterous kind of appeal, something like Still Fly or Oh Yeah, some of those type pitches within it. So it's just kind of a ton. And then you couple that with the fact that it's just a little bit more lazier within the energy delivery of it. It just felt like not necessarily full bound kind of passing the torch, but just kind of the pitch as far as saying that it just for some reason didn't have like the dynamite kind of commercial didn't have like the full bound kind of dynamite commercial grab within the pitch that needed. But it's not. I mean, it sounds going to get a classic score. I mean, there's only really one song out of the 17 on here I don't recommend it in any fashion. It's actually 15 and a half. There's an almost song in here, but 15 and a half out of 17 is an easy kind of classic score. But yeah, this barely, like, one thing about this is Juvenile and Lil Wayne are barely on here. It's just within the pitch as far as saying that Juvenile was getting ready to leave Cash Money, which was unfortunate, but this is one of the last appearances he was kind of on with like some Birdman as far as this pitch kind of went for a long time. And Lil Wayne was kind of really quiet in 2003 as he kind of went through a submerged type mode before he resurfaced with the Carters. It's just to win the pitch. Lil Wayne is at least on here once, which is a very quiet appearance. You barely know that he's on this project. Juvenile's on here once. Ludacris is on. Well, actually, Lil Wayne's on here twice, I want to say. Lil Wayne might be on Southern Boy, so he is on here at least a brief couple of times, but it's just within the pitch. It is off to the wayside within that particular fair, but you do get to see Lil Wayne as to what he was up to before he would resurface with the Carter and really start to dominate things. But yeah, Ludacris has a quiet appearance on here. Some of those type fairs I'd have to say. So it's just within the fair as far as saying simple type classic, just early 2000s, very just within the concept, very unsung within the pitch. I just feel like the concept of it now, just to say songs like Gangsta Girl and No Love are definitely some ones within the pitch that have some of that relative boisterous type appeal. These particular songs are pretty right in your face, kind of fresh type beats that just have the aspect of something that really feels like early 2000s staples within the pitch, just the aspect of just the replayability. But I mean, nowadays it could seem like they may almost show their age. This particular album does have some commercial bite about it with songs like Gangsta Girl and No Love as far as this pitch is going to happen. I feel like some of these type ones just feel like 2000s kind of staples within the pitch, which is kind of the concept that just the fashion that Birdman and Mannie Fresh are not as commonplace in the spotlight nowadays just makes me question like the fear of how many oftenly folks recognize that Mannie Fresh was a staple producer just in the pitch. I mean, 20 years ago, 22 years ago, it might have been within the pitch, but it's just kind of Just I don't know the full bound, but Birdman, is the same sort of pitch. Even like folks who remember Birdman from like the early and mid 2010s, is kind of fair that this is lesser available. But this is the sort of stuff when they were in their prime. But yeah, so like I said, there were at least 3 singles. I don't remember the fourth one, but I'm going to assume it was Beat It Up because that seems like that was the most viable type one within pitch. But basically, this is how we do is the lead single here. It's like a woozy and glazed kind of summer evening frolic to kind of get here. Just more saturate than they were. It's particularly more saturate than they were in 2002 as far as this pitch can happen. So it's just kind of the constant, just a little bit more, just kind of cultivated within the pitch. And that's something I'm going to be saying a few times on this particular project. Is just talking about the concept. But just like I was saying, it's just kind of the pitch that the energy on here is just a little bit more malaised and more mellow, kind of more chillax type factor, just with a little bit more smokage in your system, or just the concept of just a little bit more, not necessarily full bound kind of full circle, but just within the pitch as far as saying that this has a little bit more satisfaction within as far as those pitches kind of happen within the tones. It's kind of the concept. I mean, it still has some of that energy, but if you compare it to like the rampantness or just like the shock kind of craze of like a song like Big by Big Tymers, or like the energy of like the kind of gimmick frolic of Oh Yeah, or like this the summer cookout type energy of Gimme Some or Still Fly, some of those type pitches. I'm gonna find a few more songs that I'm thinking about. Songs like Sunny Day, songs like Hello, songs like Get High, some of those type ones. Put That Shit Up, some of those type pitches in particular. Just were a lot of those off that particular type fair that kind of had that particular kind of kick within the pitch behind it. Maybe even other ones like I'm Coming, Number One, some of those type fairs within it. So it's kind of within the pitch, but I look after it. This just has some real glaze type energy, but it works for the appeal behind. So it's just some good type fare, just some chillax type factor of winding down for the summer heat day as far as this pitch can go. Good, nice one. It's not as full bound catchy as like Still Fly, I'd say, but it is a nice, good single to be able to have within that pitch. It is like some standard up to usual antics just within an evening sense. Gangsta Girls, the second single. This has R. Kelly on here. This is a pretty good catchy one. This was back when R. Kelly was in his early 2000s prime. Just once again an MTV VH1 staple. Pretty recognizable instrumental from those particular times if you remember it. It's like a vintage 2000s kind of MTV era staple, like I was saying. This hitting hook definitely from R. Kelly, and local venue hop and chillax type music going to get within these tones. There is some factors about it when you think of particular shows off MTV back in those days, like MTV Cribs, some of those type pitches, is songs that you probably would have heard oftenly enough when folks would open up the door and just be like, "Here's my house," some of those type fares within the pitch behind. But I look after the pitch behind as far as saying it's just some good type fare kind of get within the pitch. I mean, it's just very vanilla within this sense. I feel like this is very vanilla Southern rap. It's just kind of the pitch that this is probably what Big Timers would have wound up becoming had they lasted a little bit longer within the pitch behind it. But really, there was a Mannie Fresh album I reviewed back in the late summer of 2024 called The Mind of Mannie Fresh that came out in late 2004, early 2005 that had songs just like this. So if you absolutely need an expansion, you really particularly enjoy the thrills of this product between Hood Rich and then this particular album, there is at least The Mind of Mannie Fresh that doesn't have Birdman on there as much full bound, but it is a good type picture, like a true sequel to that particular stuff that Mannie Fresh was doing around that time. Definitely has some good stuff within those fairs. But Gangsta Girls is just a real nice vanilla rap type one within a venue sense. No Love's another highlighted one. This is a good type pitch kind of get here. Basically, all the singles really hit the nail on the head, but No Love is probably recognizable. I mean, it has a little bit, like, the chorus is, like, mildly grating, but for the most part, it manages to nail it within 99, the virtual aspect of it. It's a pretty, like, the beat is really, in fact, and it's particularly instrumental and pitches like that is really infectious. Just kind of the concept. It's a good, nice one, recognizable from early 2000s. It's like a grand kind of neighborhood frolic. This particular song is also called A Beautiful Life to say within those pitches, but No Love is like a grand kind of neighborhood frolic to kind of get here. Just excellent hangout mingle to kind of say within those pitches. Dope gadget type music I'd have to say within those fairs. Just a good song to stunt to. So it's just one of those type ones. If you have like some new gear and contraptions at your house, something like that. If you got like a new sound system, some of those type fairs, new whatever, some sort of pitch, back in those days, if you would have had like a PS3 or something like that, one of those type fairs, or just something new for your whip, some of those particular type fairs, something like that, good new television, good sound system, good speakers, some of that type fair, just something you're showing off with your pals at the hangout type fair. It's just one of the type ones that just feels like a Cribs kind of staple within some of those type pitches. By that I mean the show MTV Cribs staple, some of those type pitches that just having like the frog of just like, hey, look, check out what I got here, just some pitches like that, just seeing like the new gadgetry and contraptions as far as this pitch can have. It's kind of like another side of the coin to like more shop type music. There's not as much shop type music on this particular album apart from like like the song I'm a Dog, I'd have to say, was just kind of within the pitch as far as saying just the hangout type fare, as far as saying, hey, welcome to my pad, some of those type pitches within the tone behind, so some good type context kind of have for some of that. But I'd say Gangsta Girl's another one like that as well. But No Love just really has that blistering kind of feel. Just some real great kind of venue type noise within the pitch. It's very vanilla type one, just in the sense behind it, just real commercial. But yeah, basically just to say here, like I said, 15 and a half out of 17 songs in here, so this album's going to get a 10 out of 10. This is the pitch. The only real song I don't recommend in any fashion is just a song to be played. We should talk about that one. That one was just kind of almost goofy, just kind of offhanded, kind of just around the neighborhood type fare within the pitch behind it. It was kind of one that was trying to be like songs like probably like Big Money, Heavyweight, or Southern Boy, some of those type ones, but just didn't pull off the appeal. It was just kind of one of the more clumsy type ones that would have felt like a worse type fare, like the sort of stuff that they were doing on Hood Rich, just trying to be some of that typical kind of neighborhood saunter, just didn't pull off the appeal. But the Almost song is the song I'll Take You There, which has Petey Pablo and then I think a chick named Joa or something like that, not really as full bound sure, but basically this is a nice one within a mostly sense. It's like an evening embrace, kind of hotel pink skies lushness, kind of get within some of these aspects here, just a refined kind of lazy embellished as far as those fairs can have. So it's just another nice one for like that summer type fair. It feels like something Rick Ross would have done on like Deeper Than Rap. If you like that debonair type stuff within the pitch, just a little bit more just early 2000s type fashion, just kind of lazy type fashion. Definitely like songs like Down South, This Is How We Do, some of those type pitches, some of those type songs. And I'd probably say songs like Got Everything, some of those relative tight, just more malaise just within the fashion, real probably Red Eyes type music, not so much full bound. I mean, these can be taken out of context and not just smoking type songs, but just in the pitch and just like a real kind of comfortable, just lazy kind of Pink Skies Afternoon, just like that, this aspect of just delights of kicking back, some of that type of just chillaxing. It's a good type product of this particular product here. Is just a little bit more chill type factor, more so than like the ferocity, like the more summer Tupac riding type antics at Hood Rich. So it's just good type fare, but I'll Take You There. It's just an almost song just in the pitch because I'm still getting used to this particular song. I mean, I like within a good type fashion, has some of that commercial bite of this, like some date evenings pitches like that, some unwind, some good chill acts with bellas as far as those pitches can have them. It's just kind of the tone and just the aspect of just how affable the song particularly is. I mean, it's just a song I didn't listen to very commonly back in the day as far as those fairs can happen within like the aspect of this, like the immediacy factor of it. It is a good song within a relative type pitch, but it just needs a little bit more warming up within the fair towards it, but it's just within the concept. But so yeah, this album gets a 10 out of 10, so I'm just going to go down the list with a lot of these. Just it's pretty much hit after hit after hit. So Beat It Up is one of the best songs on this album. Just as I say, this is a real dynamite type production, just real type fare that just has some feralness. It's like a kinky and exuberant kind of neighborhood freak noise kind of get here. Definitely album standout. I definitely have to say here, just get crunked as far as this pitch can happen. So just good type concept within the pitch. Definitely has some bellas type fare within the pitch behind it. Just good type neighborhood type Johnson within the pitch behind it. This really reminds me of something that Ludacris would have done. Some of those type pitches, like Freaky Things, some of those type fares, but it just has a real infectious type beat just in the pitch behind it. It's not quite as much hotel type music within the fair as far as like that. I mean, it has similarities to this sort of stuff like Ludacris would kind of do like Pussy Pop and Freaky Things, some of that particular type fair, just real freak noise like I was saying within the pitch, but it's just kind of concept that this has like a real night venue type pitch behind it. So it's just kind of a sociable type song within the fair behind it. Just really nails those aspects. It's kind of the pitch. So, and it's really kind of the concept of just as far in some senses, it doesn't feel like this is Birdman and Mannie Fresh doing these particular songs. It just feels like it should be someone like Ludacris or Lil Wayne, some of those type folks, just someone who was kind of more in your face popping and like their prime within those pitches as far as that particular fair. But I mean, these folks fit this song pretty damn well. So it's within the pitch, just being able to say it's just kind of the pitch behind it. There's good, nice ones within that fair. Weekend Smoke is a nice one. Now this is kind of like a pseudo sequel to the song Get High, or the High song from Hood Rich from 2002. Just a little bit more cultivated. It's like a glazed, more cultivated kind of summer rompish kind of get here, just simple kind of unwind and cruise around. I'd have to say about this particular song, just good one to bake in the sun as far as those aspects kind of happen. So either baking from the heat or baking from the smoke is just good type fare. It's basically glazed kind of day as far as those pitches kind of go. Just kind of the aspect, not quite as full bound catchy. I do find myself enjoying like the song from 2002, the Get Stoned song, more within the pitch of that one. That just has a little bit more rampant type energy, like the concept, a little bit more excitement. But this one's a little bit more lazy within the pitch of this, a little bit more chillax type fare. So this kind of goes in the fashion. If you need something more ferocious, I go for the 2002 one, but the 2003 one has the same type of fashion, but just a little bit more just kind of chill type fashion. So just within that, it's not to say chill in a bad way, but it's just kind of pitched to this It's just more spark than the other one, I'd have to say. But Against the Wall has some of that particular frolic from like the 2002 days. It's a nice one here. It's like a more springtime and balmy kind of cheery neighborhood hangout, I'd have to say, within those pitches. It's kind of like a daytime version of No Love, or it's a daytime type version of the song No Love, or It's a Beautiful Life, as far as this pitch can have. So it's good type fare for that. It's kind of good type concept. This is one of those type ones that pretty much they could have, I definitely think Big Timers could have done a sequel to like Hood Rich within that particular type fare, but it's just kind of concept just a little bit more melded as far as just more lazy type fashion, but a little bit more melded within a lazy type fashion. But it works for what it kind of particularly does within the pitch. But this is just a good concept. What this album probably could have been had it had a little bit more cheeriness in its overall embellished about it in like a more jubilant type sense. But it's a good type one just within the pitch. Just feels kind of than a differential type fashion compared to the rest of the product. But I do feel like songs like Gangsta Girl, No Love are kind of like that as well. Beat It Up, some of those type ones. Down South is a nice one. Now, really, this particular product is not commonly like on the wiki, on the Wikipedia article, and really within certain senses on Spotify, it doesn't commonly denote the fact that Ludacris is on. It's not really commonly denote that Ludacris is on this particular song. It's really kind of downplays that concept, but he is on this song. It's just kind of an awkward type era for him just within the pitch, because it just feels like barely that he made the verse. I think it's from like the Chicken and Beer era. I want to say that Down South might be from like the Chicken and Beer era as far as this pitch kind of happened just within the pitch behind it. I want to say the Down South verse might be from like the Chicken and Beer era Ludacris as far as this verse kind of happened, and Lil Wayne has a quiet verse on here as well. But this is like a dreary kind of makeshift drifting kind of get here, just a lazy kind of summer evening, kind of typical fare, I'd have to say. Just smoke, good concept to smoke with this particular one. This Aaron's pitch just like that, I had to say. So just kind of the concept, this typical kind of cruise around just in a more kind of this kind of dazed and this dredgy kind of makeshift type fashion with the pitch. So this is more workaday within the fashion. It's interesting concept kind of get some of these type ones, because Ludacris was not typically kind of pumping out these particular type ones back in the day. Not to say like he was, but it's just kind of the pitch as far as this typical kind of makeshift push of just like some car commerce, like an evening kind of dredge. So it's just good type concept when you think of like post grunge, that fair, some of that just typical kind of dredge about it. Just kind of one that just more factory. Good concept. Get Lil Wayne, Ludacris, and the Big Timers as far as those particular fairs can have good typeness. You Are Not a Pimp's a nice one as well. And this is more crunchy kind of night venue type action, very similar to Beat It Up. It's like a good pairing with Beat It Up, like I was saying. Just good concept. Just an argumentative kind of Beezy night as far as this pitch can happen. Just kind of spicy within the fair. If one of these bees is, if some particular bell is just kind of pissing you off a bit, it's kind of within the pitch. It is kind of a normal night that turns into something hectic, something like that. It's just kind of concept as far as saying that this is kind of the fair as far as the fashion, a little bit more drama type within the pitch as far as just saying, hey, it's gonna be kind of some, loud pack tonight within a more kind of within a biting type sense. But this is like some good 2000s glitz as far as this first gonna happen. So it's just typical type fashion. It's night of glitz within that particular appeal. Really, this particular product is a lot more summer evening type fair within the pitch behind it. I mean, apart from probably songs like I would say apart from songs like Back Up, You Are Not a Pimp, and maybe Beat It Up, for the most part, this album is not within the full bound glitz like usual night kind of glissiness and just the concept like some of that pizzazz. I mean, it has it on here, but it does not overly kind of embrace that. It's just kind of the pitch. I feel like it's just a good concept, but it's having going from summer afternoons with Hood Rich to more summer evenings, like between about 5:30, about 7:45, 8:15 within the pitch of this particular album. So it's just good type fashion, kind of get within that pitch. This good pitch of this more just kind of glazed, kind of simmering with the aspect, but it just works for that fair. Dirty D-Boy is a nice one as well. It's like a woozy kind of evening errand run, kind of get within those pitches. Just a preoccupied kind of bustle song, I feel like here. Just kind of one that does have some of that hustle in mind. Just reminds me of like '05 Lil Wayne. It has to say just a good primer for some of the stuff that he was doing on like the Carter 2 and within certain cases the Carter 1. But this is an overall dope type one with the pitch. So it just really feels like mixtape type fare from like 2000s cats as far as this fair is going to happen. Something that folks like Jeezy, Joel Santana, Lil Wayne, some of those particular type folks would have done. This real bustle type one, just a little bit more, not necessarily paranoia, but just kind of within the upkeep, but just something that just is kind of more kind of fastidious and kind of preoccupied within the pitch as far as this first can happen. So it's just good type one for that. Got everything. It's like a quality one. It's like a usual kind of summer evening romp fair to kind of get within those senses. Just day in the life, kind of after hours pep. I'd say about this one, good song to vibe to. This just feels like another kind of more mellow and kind of cultivated type one compared to the pitch of like Hood Rich within some of those particular type fairs. I'd say it's good type concept for some of that. This real smoking L, like a nice type pitch. Just kind of an easy, simple type one. Just to cruise around with the pitch. Just get some simple Popeyes, some of those type fairs. Just basic kind of sunglasses type music. Just in like a typical kind of Pink Skies cruise around some of that type fair. So I'd say My Life is a quality one as well within these pitches. It's like a relative kind of rainy day makeshift dreary, kind of get within that particular aspect. This dredgy day kind of commerce push it, I'd say, within the tone behind it. Just some food for thought as far as this pitch is going to go. My Life almost almost feels like a DJ drama type soul type song within a pitch, just relative within that particular fair, just makeshift type push. Just the same sort of concept as like a song like Down South, just a little bit more dreary, just a little bit more kind of moody, almost emo like, but just kind of a concept, but just like one of those makeshift type songs. Just real nice Monday type music for like a more kind of traditional makeshift blue collar 9 to 5 type fashion with the pitch behind. So it's a good type one for some of that commercial bite. Just a differential aspect for most of this particular album, I'd say. Good type fair. It's a good break into like the 9 to 5 monotony as far as this pitch kind of having good type fair for that. I'm a Dog is a nice one as well. As like this one reminds of like Hood Rich 2002. I'd say within the pitch behind it, just some garage and shop type music within the fair, just basic on a local saunter. I'd have to say just good song for like a cold beer as far as those pitch gonna go. And once again, that particular disc more summer rom type energy is just kind of, I mean, it just feels. Once again, that particular summer rom type energy just feels more off to the wayside this time. I'm surprised that they didn't have more shop type songs within pitch. Just kind of concept that when you think of like the contraption type music of a song like No Love or A Beautiful Life within those particular pitches just behind it, and Gangsty Girl, some of those type ones, just who would have thought within the aspect there would have been some shop type ones. Definitely the energy that they had on songs like Big and Put That Shit Up, some of those type pitches from Hood Rich in 2002. There needed to be another song or two like that within that fashion. I mean, Mannie Fresh did do another one a year later with Real Big as far as those pitches kind of went, but it just kind of cons with that particular aspect, just a little bit more glitz and glamour within the fashion. Some of that was just kind of a little bit more melded this time within the aspects. So there's just not as much garage and shop type music within the fashion behind it. So you think if you think it's going to be front yard type kickback with wrenches and refrigerators in the garage type pitch, and just cold beers and just the kickback of just fixing things up in the garage, some of that type first. It's not as full bound this time. It's just good type pitch for some of that, just some local saunter. Backup is a quality one within some of those type pitches. Then this has a quiet verse from Juvenile on here. It's a good type fair. It's like a revved up kind of dance club hitter kind of get. It's a good dynamite but less casually convincing kind of jive about this one. The song is some good dynamite but it's less casually convincing, I'd have to say, within the pitch behind it, but this is still some good jive. So it's just good concept. Just real frenetic type one within the pitch. Just real kind of spicy type dance heat as far as this pitch kind of having. Just good type fair, goes great with songs like Gangsty Girl, No Love, but this one's probably the most ferocious song on here, I'd have to say, apart from Beat It Up. I'd have to say within that particular fashion, just good concept, kind of get some of these just within a continued glitz type sense. I look after just within the pitch behind it, it's not as full bound casual, and I was paying attention to on this particular popularity on Spotify. It's just within the pitch, it's a good type song, but it's just kind of the aspect that for the most part, when you think of like the most immediate type ones, probably some of the ones that are just probably some of the ones that just attract a little bit more attention, like Beat It Up, No Love, Gangsta Girl, This Is How We Do, We Can Smoke, Southern Boy, some of those type ones just within the pitch. There are some ones, like I feel like this product, despite the fact that I'm giving it a 10 out of 10, you have to keep within the aspect as far as saying the casual aspects, because Big Tymers is just more off the wayside, and especially nowadays, 22 years later within the pitch, it just doesn't have as many kind of full-bound, kind of casual type bite type ones within the pitch. I mean, it doesn't have someone like Lil Wayne or Ludacris commonly to kind of back these particular folks out. It's just within the pitch that you have to kind of have a more flavorful kind of taste for Birdman and Mannie Fresh within those pitches to really fuck with this as full-bound. It's just kind of the concept that some of these type ones just feel, they may just feel like kind of routine and factory type folks, just typical kind of southern rapper that just doesn't have as much kind of vivid, vivacious kind of vibe about it. It's just kind of constant. There are some casual ones on here, but it's just kind of the pitch as far as saying that you look after it. That, I mean, this album does have the dynamite, but it would seem more in a hardcore type sense just because it didn't have like the commercial smash of something like Still Fly or Oh Yeah, some of those type ones. So it's just kind of concept. But a lot of these are good, but it's just kind of concept. There are some ones like, you know, My Life, I'm a Dog, Back Up, Big Money, Heavyweight, I'll Take You There, Dirty D-Boy, some of these type ones within relative type senses you are not, or just within a relative type sense that might have a little bit more kind of debate as whether or not it's full bound as to how casual they kind of are, but it's just within the pitch behind. But then Big Money Heavyweight, the title track, is another nice one within those pitches. It's like a throwback on a 2002 Tymers gonna get here, just some summer evening dredge, like a lot of these, like I was saying. Good song to finish up errands. Good song to finish up errands too, as far as what's first gonna happen. So just this typical type fashion, it's the same sort of dredge. It's kind of one of those type ones that just feels basically like it would have been on, like I was saying, like it would have been on Hood Rich from 2002. Just more of like 6 o'clock, 6:30 p.m., 7:15 p.m. pitches like that. Just typical kind of July, August type heat within the pitch behind it. It's not as much, not quite as dewy springtime type within pitch. I also feel like if Hood Rich is more April, May, June, that this is more like late July, August, early September, some of those type fairs. So it's just in the pitch, just the product, just continues summer product within the pitch, but goes within it. So yeah, this album gets a 10 out of 10. Now the social score I'll probably give maybe like a 9.5 out of 10. I just feel like within the pitch, as far as saying, the look after this particular album does have the gems on here, but it's just kind of constant as far as like the embraces, that the aspect is that how much bite that this particular product would kind of have. I know I'm giving this a pretty high score considering the fact that I feel like maybe it's kind of dicey within the pitch, like the reception it would kind of get, but it's just kind of the tone that the quality is on here. It does have the night venue songs within the pitch. It does have some pretty recognizable vanilla rap within the pitch. That does have some engaging kind of instrumentals, pitches like that. The energy, the hooks, all that particular type of stuff is really off the meter. It's just kind of constant of that. It is the more conduct, the dislike, the affability, and the overall flair, allure, and pizzazz that these particular rappers kind of have. Because I realize that Birdman is not one of the front runners in terms of like the most. I mean, he does have his popularity, but it's just kind of within the pitch that some folks would say that he's not a lyricist, pitches like that. And Mannie Fresh is kind of within the pitch that he's just not as commonly known about his full bunches within the pitch. I look after, but the quality songs are on here. There's at least I would say 5, 6, or 7 casual type songs within the pitch. Obviously, the 3 singles, in addition to songs like "We Can Smoke," "Beat It Up," "Down South," despite the fact that it kind of has like uncommon, kind of ludicrous Lil Wayne type verses, but within some of these type pitches, there are some ones on here. There is a lot of summer evening dredges within the pitch, some cultivatedness. It's a lot of good Pink Skies type music within the fashion. That's kind of the concept. If you're looking for like some Miami Fried kind of cruise around some of those type pitches, just some Pink Skies kind of unwind, just smoke an L, and just that relief of being done with work shift and like a summer evening, just relaxation type factor and chillax. Like this very chillax type product has those tones in spades, whereas this pitch kind of goes. That's just kind of the tone behind it. A lot of those on here, just not amidst like the noon and kind of 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock p.m. type summer cookouts, the hood rich, but it's just within the fashion. It has a little bit more cultivatedness that works in a lot of its extreme senses. So good type fashion, just wind down type music, settle in, just glaze type fashion, summer evenings. So in terms of the future, like Big Tymers, this is their most recent project as far as what's first gonna happen. This is a classic here, like I was saying, good type pitch for that. It's just kind of the concept that, it just is the question as to how much the popularity of like these folks within a routine type fashion in terms like beyond hardcore type sense would kind of be. So it's just within the pitch, but yeah, classic. Yeah, I would say classic early 2000s and Dirty South type album within the pitch behind it. Just a little bit more underwhelming within the pitch as far as like the casual aspect, but other than that, it is another piece, another dynamite type treat, and easy kind of highlighted one to kind of pitch for like the reign of this like some more summer rampancy.